The victory at Krujë had solidified Skanderbeg's reputation as a formidable military leader. The Ottoman forces, led by Sultan Murad II, had failed to capture the fortress, an event that invigorated the morale of the Albanian League of Ligia. Skanderbeg's tactical brilliance and the fortitude of his men created a bulwark against Ottoman expansion in the Balkans. In the wake of the siege, Skanderbeg focused on strengthening the unity and military capabilities of the Albanian League. He understood that a cohesive and well-prepared alliance was crucial in fending off future Ottoman invasions. Skanderbeg fortified the key strongholds, enhanced the training of his troops, and sought support from European powers, emphasizing the common threat posed by the Ottoman Empire. While Skanderbeg successfully resisted Murad II's advances, the region suffered from poor harvests and widespread famine. After being turned away by the Venetians, he sought a stronger alliance with King Alfonso V. In January 1451, Alfonso V appointed Skanderbeg as the captain general of the King of Aragon. Responding to Skanderbeg's appeals for assistance, Alfonso V provided support, culminating in the Treaty of Gaeta on March 26, 1451. Under the treaty, Skanderbeg formally became a vassal in return for military aid. It is believed that Skanderbeg effectively maintained full control over his territories. While the archives in Naples document payments and supplies sent to Skanderbeg, they make no mention of any tributes or payments made by him to King Alfonso, apart from the occasional gifts of Ottoman war prisoners and banners. More specifically, Skanderbeg acknowledged Alfonso's sovereignty over his lands in exchange for military support against the Ottomans. In return, King Alfonso vowed to uphold the traditional privileges of Krujë and the Albanian territories, while also granting Skanderbeg an annual payment of 1,500 ducats. Alfonso V of Aragon's alliance with Skanderbeg in 1451 was a strategic move to gain a foothold in the Balkans and support vulnerable Christian states like Moria in resisting Ottoman expansion. It showcased his vision of unified resistance against Ottoman aggression. Skanderbeg, however, promised to formally pledge allegiance to Alfonso only after successfully driving the Ottomans out of his lands, a condition that was never fulfilled during his lifetime. On April 21, 1451, Skanderbeg married Donica, the daughter of Gjurgj Arianidi, one of Albania's most prominent noblemen, further solidifying their alliance. In 1451, while Mehmed focused on defeating the Karamanids and Mentees in the east, he still intended to return to Albania. During this brief respite, Skanderbeg began rebuilding Krujë and constructed a new fortress in Modrič, located in the Drine Valley near Setback, an area lost in the 1448 siege where Ottoman forces had previously passed unchallenged. The fortress was swiftly completed within a few months during the summer, taking advantage of the limited Ottoman presence. Its construction dealt a significant blow to Ottoman operations, effectively hindering their advances in Albania. During this period, Venice actively worked to undermine Skanderbeg and his allies to curtail both Aragonese influence and the growth of the Albanian state. In response, Alfonso V of Aragon appointed 2 experienced Catalan officers, supported by 200 troops, as governors of Krujë, positioning himself as the nominal ruler of Albania. Despite this, Skanderbeg maintained his authority as the leading force against the Ottomans. While Gjurgj Arianidi resisted Venetian intrigue, Pal Dukagjini prepared to challenge Skanderbeg. Meanwhile, Stefan Krnjević allied with Venice and accepted vassalage. Frustrated by Venice's deception and failure to honor promised payments, Skanderbeg deployed his forces toward Durazzo and Scutari, compelling the Venetian Republic to reconsider its covert maneuvers. In 1452, Ottoman cavalry began raiding eastern Albanian territories, a strategy frequently employed by the Ottomans to weaken adversaries prior to a large-scale invasion. Sultan Mehmed, perceiving divisions among the Albanian leaders to be a critical peak, mobilized an inexperienced force of approximately 27,000 soldiers. His goal was to sufficiently weaken the Albanian defenses before launching a concentrated invasion. This force, commanded by Tahip Pasha, was divided into two groups, one under Tahip's leadership and the other under his subordinate, Hamza Pasha. While Mehmed was preoccupied with conflicts in the east, he permitted Hamza to return westward. Skanderbeg assembled an army of 14,000 soldiers and set out to confront Tahip Pasha's forces. His strategy was to defeat Hamza first, before maneuvering around Tahip to encircle him. Hamza commanded between 10,000 and 12,000 men and was stationed near the newly constructed fortress of Modrič. Wasting no time, Skanderbeg launched an immediate attack on July 21st. The ferocity of his assault quickly overwhelmed the Ottoman forces, forcing them into retreat. Many perished on the battlefield, while the rest were pursued as they fled. Hamza, along with his staff, was captured during the battle. Francesco Sansovino, in Historia Universal dell'Origine et Imperio de Turkey, recounts that Hamza, fearing punishment, pleaded for mercy by explaining that he had only opposed Skanderbeg because he was compelled to do so. Dimitrio Franco, one of Skanderbeg's early biographers, describes how Skanderbeg's response moved the Ottoman officers to tears. Skanderbeg even shared a meal with them before ordering his prisoners to be guarded and treated respectfully. Ultimately, the men were released, but Hamza and his staff were ransomed for 13,000 ducats. Franco notes that Skanderbeg's generosity earned widespread admiration throughout Albania and the Ottoman Empire. His actions enhanced his reputation as a warrior among his troops and demonstrated his conviction that he could allow his enemies another chance to fight him, confident in his own abilities. After defeating Hamza's army, Skanderbeg retained control of the captured Ottoman foot soldiers. That same day, he dispatched men to Tahip Pasha's army, which had advanced to central Albania. These men displayed the captives and captured Ottoman standards to demoralize Tahip's forces. Unshaken, Tahip divided his army into two groups in the plains of Meçad, positioning his elite troops to guard the flanks. Anticipating this, Skanderbeg sent Moisi Golemi to attack Tahip's rear flanks, weakening the Ottoman forces before the main assault. Once this maneuver succeeded, Skanderbeg launched his own forces into battle. During the intense clash, Moses identified Tahip, engaged him in a fierce duel, and ultimately killed him. Leaderless, the Ottoman troops panicked and fled the battlefield. Next year, in 1453, Skanderbeg led his Albanian forces to the fields of Pollog near Tetovo, aiming to reclaim Svedegrad from the Ottomans. His army, supported by Alfonso the Magnanimous, was equipped with artillery and arquebuses. The Albanian forces, numbering around 10,000 men, faced an Ottoman army of 14,000, commanded by Ibrahim Pasha, a former ally turned adversary. Skanderbeg's strategy was to devastate the surrounding Macedonian countryside to weaken Ottoman control and lure the garrison of Svedegrad into a trap. When his forces encountered Ibrahim Pasha's army, Skanderbeg initially halted his march and considered retreating into the Mokra Valley to draw the Ottomans into an ambush. However, Ibrahim Pasha chose to bivouac in the fields of Pollog, blocking further incursions. As dawn broke after a fierce storm, Skanderbeg adapted his plans and launched a swift cavalry attack on the Ottoman camp. The surprise assault caused chaos among the enemy ranks. During the battle, Skanderbeg confronted Ibrahim Pasha in a duel and defeated him, beheading him in a decisive moment. The sight of their fallen leader shattered the Ottomans' morale, leading them to retreat. The Ottomans suffered significant losses, with casualties ranging between 3,000 and 10,000, while the Albanians lost around 300 men. On May 29, 1453, as Constantinople fell to the Ottomans, the winds of change swept across the Balkans. The fall of Constantinople had profound effects on Europe. It marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of Ottoman dominance in the region, and placed Albania in the direct path of intensified Ottoman expansion. With the Byzantine Empire gone, Albania became a crucial battleground and elevated Albania's role as a symbol of defiance amidst growing external pressure. In early July 1455, Skanderbeg laid siege to the Ottoman-held fortress of Berat with 14,000 men, supported by 1,000 Aragonese soldiers skilled in artillery and siege warfare. The fortress, defended by 500 Ottoman soldiers, was heavily bombarded, and the garrison proposed a truce, promising to surrender if reinforcements didn't arrive in a month. Believing victory was close, Skanderbeg left Karl Maczaka, Thopia, in charge and departed with a sizable contingent of his army toward Vlora, a coastal city, to survey the routes and prevent a potential surprise attack from the Vlora garrison. Unbeknownst to the Albanians, this offer was a ploy. A relief force of 20,000 Ottomans, led by Isa Bey Evrenas, marched from Gjirokastër and launched a surprise attack in mid-July. Amid the chaos, Vranikandi, one of Skanderbeg's most trusted commanders, played a pivotal role. He fiercely resisted the initial Ottoman onslaught, repelling several waves of attacks and buying precious time for the Albanian forces to regroup. Despite his valiant efforts, the overwhelming numbers of the Ottoman reinforcements proved too much. Karl Maczaka, Thopia, was killed, and the Albanian army suffered heavy losses, marking a significant setback for Skanderbeg's campaign. When Skanderbeg learned of the news, he hurried back, but by the time he arrived, the battle had already concluded. Contemporary Italian accounts portray him as displaying remarkable valor with sword and mace, saving many lives through his timely actions. Despite this, the outcome at Berat was catastrophic, severely weakening the Albanian resistance temporarily. The Ottomans retained control of Berat, and it was never reclaimed by the League. Adding to the turmoil, Moisi Golemi, one of Skanderbeg's trusted commanders, defected to the Ottomans after the siege and made an attempt to defeat Skanderbeg by using the Ottoman army. He departed Edirne with an army of 15,000 soldiers, advancing toward Albania. Aware of Moisi's familiarity with his tactics and the Albanian landscape, Skanderbeg carefully arranged his defenses in preparation. In May 1456, both armies met at the plains of Oranik. With his familiarity of Skanderbeg's tactics, Moisi confidently led his army against the Albanians, but Skanderbeg, commanding a smaller yet determined force of 10,000, was prepared for the challenge. The battle began with a duel that saw Zaharia Gropa, a fierce Albanian warrior, slay an Ottoman champion, igniting the spirits of Skanderbeg's men. Moisi attempted to intimidate the Albanians with a challenge to Skanderbeg himself, but fled before the clash, ordering his troops to advance. Skanderbeg countered with a devastating cavalry charge that broke the Ottoman ranks and left their forces in disarray. By the end of the day, Moisi's army was defeated, and he fled the battlefield, his ambition in ruins. Days later, Moisi returned to Skanderbeg, a broken yet penitent man. He laid down his arms and begged for forgiveness, confessing his betrayal and acknowledging the grave mistake he had made. Moved by Moisi's sincerity, Skanderbeg chose mercy over vengeance. He forgave Moisi, restoring him as an ally and vowing to focus on their shared cause, the resistance against the Ottomans. From that day forward, Moisi remained steadfast in his loyalty. He became one of Skanderbeg's most devoted and reliable commanders, fighting fiercely alongside him in the battles that followed. His courage on the battlefield and unwavering support earned him the trust of his comrades, and he sought to atone for his past betrayal with every victory they achieved. This tale of redemption and unity underscored not only Skanderbeg's strategic brilliance, but also his remarkable capacity for forgiveness and leadership. Together, they inspired the Albanian resistance, proving that even after hardship and betrayal, the strength of their cause could bring them together. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of legendary